Hello guys and welcome to another video. This is going to be a review of a new game that just came out on Steam on the 7th. It is called Wasted and it is an action RPG indie game developed by Mr. Poduncan and published by Adult Swim Games. And as we take a look at the settings here, we can see that the screen resolutions, they're all there. It comes with full screen on and windowed mode. I did have a problem when I first started the game. It started up in windowed mode on my second monitor, which wasn't a big problem. I just alt entered it and went to full screen. It does have a field of view slider, which is awesome. It's got all the goodies: atmospheric filtering, anti-aliasing. I got everything on very high. I turned the bloom off. Don't like bloom. Nobody likes bloom. Same with film grain. Nobody likes that either. Who likes film grain in video games? It's kind of annoying. Why even put it there? I did click disable gamepad because I was not using a gamepad, so I clicked it off and it pretty much stopped me from being able to use my WASD. I didn't really understand why, because it said disable gamepad. I'm not using a gamepad, so why not disable it? Key bindings, everything is great. It has all the necessary key bindings. Everything rebinds and binds. It says right there I'm using E for multiple things, which is not good, and I didn't even notice that. So yeah, but everything was working fine after I fixed the gamepad issue. So what is this game about? Well, let's read what the developers say.
Kill, drink, and kill some more in Wasted, a roguelike post-apocalyptic pub crawler set in a lawless wasteland that lives and dies by the rules. Get wasted or get wasted trying. When a thermonuclear blitzkrieg deprives America of its greatest minds, the very hardest specimens of humanity cling on to life. From the ashes of old America, a new world emerges, and an ersatz post-apocalyptic stillborn 80s continues indefinitely, populated entirely by the toughest, meanest, and outright dumbest of God's creations, the Wasters. Which you are playing a waster, the developers just called us dumb. Live the life of the waster, fighting tooth and nail, bullets and baseball bats over the most precious of unnatural resources, a liquid from beneath the sands that fuels all of uncivilization, booze. Gain strange mutational hangovers and explore the coolers, mysterious underground bunkers or vaults, in search of powerful weapons, impressive armor, I didn't find any, and a nice stiff drink to top it all off. Who knows, maybe you'll uncover some old world secrets while you're at it. Not really. Maybe some copy-pasted bunkers. Or don't, because death comes quick in the western wastes, and what's yours today just might be picked off your pile of guts tomorrow.
So when you start the game, there's character creation. You can be male or female. You can change your skin color. You can change your hairstyle. There's lots of different options. You can change your hair color. You can change your eyes, different noses, different mouths. And when you start the tutorial, you meet Stinky, Blinky, and Clyde, which are the three stooges here. Once they try and take your gear from you, I didn't really want to give my gear to them. I didn't know why I should, but yeah, they stole my gear, and I had to go into the cooler, which is called Area CA1, and I had to chase them down and go get my gear. So as we head into the cooler, it takes you inside the cooler, and once you enter the cooler, you cannot return outside. This is a roguelike. You get one chance in here. This is your dungeon. So we go through the tutorial. They teach you all the goodies. They teach you how to sneak, attack while you're sneaking. You know, use the various controls, WASD, and all that good stuff. Stinky here has locked himself outside of the cooler. He was supposed to go inside and lock the door behind him, but he's too stupid because he's a waster. So we go up to the door. It's gonna teach us how to sneak. Press left control to enter sneak mode, and while you're in sneak, you can obviously do extra damage when you attack an enemy while you're sneaking. I didn't use sneak too much. Maybe I should have tried it a little bit more. I just went through pretty balls to the wall. This is much like Fallout 4, where it has a little thing that tells you you're hidden. See how it says it right above the character's hit points. So yeah, it pretty much one-shotted him. There's also locked doors in this game, and to open the doors, you use bottle cap openers instead of lockpicks. But it does have a cool mechanic, and I'll show you that in a second. Just looting the body here, just show you a little bit of the looting. It's the one thing about looting I didn't like was I can't equip items that are in my inventory unless I get out of the looting screen and go to my inventory. That's kind of annoying to me. I would like to just be able to equip my items right away, maybe with a hotkey while I'm looting. Yeah, this is just telling you about the locked doors that I was just explaining. Yeah, they also have little computer terminals, just like Fallout 4, where you can have a little story and read some, lore behind what's going on. Inside the cooler, I really didn't find anything interesting about any of the terminals. So this is how the lockpicking works. The door has a certain number. It could be, like 17 or 20, and every time you use a bottle cap opener on it, it reduces the number by 5. But the cool thing about this lockpicking system is, at a certain point, you can either break it with your fist, shoot it with a gun, so you don't have to use another bottle cap opener, which is, I thought, was really cool addition. I haven't seen that with lockpicking in a game yet. So we get in here. Blinky was trying to booby trap the hallways, and he ended up putting mines around himself and blocking himself in because, yeah, we're wasters and we're complete idiots, right? So Clyde here is all scared and everything, and the game is going to show us a little bit of the physics, mechanics, and combat on how we can knock back enemies and fling them across the room. Also, don't forget, you can also get flung back by explosives and weapons too. So as we hit Clyde in the back of the head here, we're lining up our shot like Babe Ruth, and home run. And it was kind of glitchy there. You saw his head like go around a corner, which was kind of weird. So yeah, that set off the mines and exploded Blinky here. So as we continue into the cooler, get out our gun. We check him for some loot, which doesn't have any loot. I noticed that looting in this game is just like everybody has pretty much the same stuff on them, which was kind of annoying. I didn't really find a lot of great loot, but I'm sure as you continue through the game, it will get better and better. So that's the first floor. See, there's no door. You can't go back. You are in the dungeon until you die or get to the end. See, there's another locked door. The red means locked, and it was at 7, so I probably might have been able to just shoot through it or punch through it, but I do have 5 bottle cap openers. You can see in the top left up there. Also, you can see you can press K to view your character, and that right there on the floor is a trap, and I didn't really think anything of it, and I got stuck in it while these guys were attacking me. You see a little bit of combat here, which is pretty cool. They do have hitboxes. You can shoot them in the head. A lot of tooltips tell me to shoot them in the crotch for some reason, because I think it disables them or slows them down. Yeah, you can loot lockers just like you can in Fallout 4. You can pick up items off the tables. The melee combat is actually pretty good. I tried to destroy the trap here. I got stuck on that one. But you can't do that. It just traps you for, I'd say 5 seconds and then lets you go. It does do damage to you though. Your hit points down on the bottom left there. There are various foods that you can gather along the way. There's medical supplies, weapons, armor. Yeah, as we continue through the cooler here, the cooler is procedurally generated. So as you go along and explore more of the map, it just keeps going and going. It's weird because there is an end to the level. So I'm assuming that the level is procedurally generated as soon as you enter the door. And there in the combat, you can see some of the knockback. She knocked me back into the wall. Sometimes it's really annoying. You'll see later on, I'll show you an example of where it eventually just kills me, like the knockback. So yeah, you can loot things, like I said before, you can loot things off the table. It pretty much reminds me of Fallout 4. Like the terminals here, you can turn things off. I'm sure later on you can turn off things that will keep you from progressing. And right here, it's telling me that I'm being hunted. There is a boss character in the level. In each level, it's called the Purifier. If you spend too much time on the level, the Purifier shows up. He starts hunting you down, and either run away from him or you're gonna die, because he has, I think, 600 hit points, and it shows you in the top under the map. It's blinking hunted, and also it tells you that there's music. I have the music turned off. There's music that plays when the hunter is closer to you. Also, there's a trip mine going off, knocking me back. So pretty much if you get any type of explosion, you get knocked back. So I'm really not worried about the hunter, and there he is. And this is an example of the knockback that's really annoying. He just started shooting me. I couldn't even see him at all. He just started shooting me, and I was knocked back into a corner, and you can't move. And this is what happens when you die. You get a cutscene of another character walking up to your house, and that is your new character. So after you die, you become this other person, and it gives you a random character name. Your character is randomized, and you walk up to the player's house. While you were wandering the Western Wasteland, you stumble upon an abandoned house, which was your other player's house. And inside that house, we have crafting tables, we have kitchens, there's also a bed in the back. It's pretty much the same as Fallout 4, but in cell shading. And it's pretty fun. The game is actually very fun. It has a lot of things in it that may be familiar to you from, like I said, other games, Borderlands, and the characters in this game are very creative and weird, which we'll see a little bit later. But yeah, you can create your own armor, you can create food, you have a refrigerator. The thing with your house is you can store your things in your house. When you die, everything in your house stays there, so the next person that you become or that wanders up to your house and takes over your house, they get all that gear. So that's really cool in the game. So you really don't have to worry about dying in the game. You're supposed to die. It's a roguelike. You're just supposed to see how far you can get into the cooler. Like, how far can you go before dying? And we'll see a little bit later here, there's a system where you can transport your goods from the cooler to your house without leaving the cooler, which is another really cool system in the game. So here I was just checking out my loot boxes, and there was actually some bullets in there because I was running low on ammo. Bullets and food and medicine. And here we go. You can take the car. There's a car outside, which is like pretty much a teleport point where you can just go back and forth between the areas. So you go back to the cooler, and it's a totally new level. It's all regenerated. There's new enemies in there. New loot, everything. It's all a new story for your new character. So we'll just kill these guys here, and then we come up to my first unmarked flask, which is booze, and this is a buff. It affects, can grant you abilities, modify your stats, among other things, but there's no telling what buzz you'll get until you take a sip because it's not marked. So, unlike hangovers, which we'll see later, buzzes won't cause you to pass out and return home and aren't permanent. So, once you leave the cooler after drinking an unmarked flask, that buff is gone. And at the end of the cooler, you will get flasks that are marked, and they tell you what's in them. And those are permanent buffs. So this is how you shape your character with the permanent buffs at the end of the cooler. So you get a little buzz, you don't know what you drank, and down in the left there, human deathipede, which I forget what it gave me. I think it was maybe made me do more damage or something like that. There's also like little mini bosses here. This guy almost killed me. He threw some kind of grenade on me or something that they stick to you, like little sticky bombs, and he did so much damage to me. Right here I'm at the end of the cooler, and this is a character called the Road Courier. He is what I was talking about previously, the person that you can transfer your goods from the cooler to your house. You put your loot into the mailbox, and then the courier comes and takes it and brings it to your house later on. If you die, it's still there. He still brings it, and your new character can pick it up, which is an awesome system. So it's pretty much you go into the cooler, you loot all this stuff, you get to the end, but it's not quite the end yet. It's just the end before the beginning. So you can loot all your stuff, you put it in the mailbox, and continue on in the cooler. But after you get done talking to this guy, he's going to tell you about a town that you need to go to sign up to be able to do this with the mailboxes. So you have to actually do a quest before you can use the mailboxes. So at the end of each cooler, you're gonna, as this explains to you, at the end of every section of the cooler, you'll find a room with a selection of random boozes. If you're not feeling confident about pushing on, it might be a good idea to drink the booze and pass out. You'll return home with all of the items you're holding. So these bottles of booze, this is like you're at the end of the cooler, you're gonna get a like a level up, maybe like a perk. So you drink one of the boozes, you pass out, you return home, but you have a permanent buff from the booze. So it's either get your permanent buff or continue on in the cooler. And further in the cooler, if you continue on, there's more powerful perks that you can get. So I wasn't feeling too confident, and also I wanted to see what it did. So this is the door. You can go in through here, and that green door there, that's the next door to the next level, and you can't go any further, or you can't return back. So this booze here gives you this buff. This one gives you weakness whiskey. This one gives you 100% damage if you don't hit the person in the head. You take 10% more damage. Like, they're just they're permanent buffs. And you can see all the different buffs I have down in the bottom there. But those aren't permanent. But this one that I just drank is permanent. So the next time I go in the cooler, I will have a permanent buff. So then after that, I go to see if I can get the road courier quest done. I end up in this wasteland town, and I am met by Big Boone there. So this is pretty much Fallout 4, but a shorter, smaller, condensed version. It's not open world. It's just you teleport with your car. You drive around with your car everywhere. So there's small little towns that you can go to. There's vendors that you can buy supplies from. You can buy backpacks, which are very important because you have zero carrying capacity in the beginning of the game. This guy Mayday, he sells booze. You can mix boozes. You can get different buffs as you mix the boozes together. And then there's also another vendor over here that just sells just like a regular general vendor. Man, she's an interesting character. She just talks and talks and talks. It's pretty crazy. She's like a valley girl in the wastelands. She's a very interesting character. As you can see here, she just sells medicines and general goods all together. So let's head inside, get this quest finished. Yeah, we gotta find this road courier so we can get to send our loot home from the mailbox. You just find random wastelanders hanging around, and here's the road courier. Pretty interesting character, so you want to talk to him a little bit, find out what's going on. And here's one of the most interesting characters that I met in the beginning of the game. His name is Dick, and he has a head for a dick, and his head's name is Kiss and Jerk. And he is a very interesting character. He's got some really cool missions for you to do. Both of them have missions for you to do. And these are just some of the interesting characters that you'll find in this game. So that's it for the video. My conclusion, get the game. It's cheap. It's under $10 on sale on Steam. I give this game a thumbs up. Good game. It's fun. It's got replayability. The graphics are nice. And as always, if you like the video, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you liked what you've seen here and you want to see more, click here to subscribe to see more videos. See you guys later. I'm out. See you next time.